So Assassin's Creed Shadows looks to be doing something with a little bit of time that they bought themselves by pushing the game off until February. And this right here, if this was on a different game, if this was just simply a development in a vacuum, I'd be applauding that, because that would actually be a pretty cool and logical step to have a proper co-op mode for having your dueling protagonists. And this is something that you've had for, quite a long time. Hell, this goes all the way back to, what was that, Syndicate, prior to them stopping their yearly releases and then working on more boutique and feature-rich installments in the Assassin's Creed franchise. But yeah, with Valhalla, you had, a proper Viking and a shield maiden, and this time around, you have a gay black samurai and Timu Mulan. It's like, yeah, cool. If you could have like a co-op, or even just the opportunity to switch on the fly, or if both of them are working together, that could be cool. But again, that's only in a vacuum and not coinciding with everything else that we know about Shadows. Like, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, because at this point in time, Assassin's Creed Shadows, yeah, it's dead, bro. You can push it off as much as you want. Nobody's coming back. The general opinion, I'm starting to see more people, more mainstream media critics talk about the failure of Ubisoft, and this is really, like, if you cast your mind back to last year, it's coming across like a Bud Light situation. Yeah, we're getting into that territory right now where the public perception of Ubisoft, and especially this game right here, yeah, it's not good. I don't think that they're going to be shaking that reputation, and especially with the stock prices diving the way that they are. Yeah, merely treading water at this point, and there's a long time. You might not think 5 months is that long, especially when it comes to triple, or in Ubisoft's case, quadruple A game development, but yeah, a number of eyeballs that are going to be on this project, it's going to feel like an eternity. Ubisoft is rumored to be developing a co-op mode for Shadows. Now, the rumor comes from Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming, rather, switch that around, who claims this mode is being called League internally. Interesting. Is unclear what exactly the mode will entail. Henderson speculated that presumably the co-op mode will see Naoe and Yasuke fight side by side, using their different combat abilities to take out enemies. Why wasn't this in the original? Okay, like that is also interesting too. Like, okay, cool. You have two different story modes that are there. Okay, that play completely differently, because that's also the way that they're marketing this. Oh, you can play as a samurai, and then you can also play as a big stealthy ninja. It'd be so cool. Why didn't you have this co-op gameplay in mind? Why didn't you have this intertwined narrative at the forefront of development? Or was this going to be one of those things that you were going to try to release later in a battle pass or something like that? Kind of the way that you're promising free updates to fix Star Wars Outlaws. This was going to be one of those free updates. Hey, you can have a co-op mode for our dual protagonist single player game. Okay. He also shared the mode was already in development before Ubisoft announced it was, so that's exactly what they're doing, delaying the game 3 months to polish it. No, it's coming out in March? Oh no, I'm sorry, February. So that's 4 months. Anyways, it was originally scheduled to come out post-launch, but it's unclear if it'll arrive, given the game's delay. Ubisoft initially delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows. This isn't an Apollo Creed game, even though the protagonist might throw you off in that direction. Via press release, yes. After learning about the failures of Star Wars Outlaws, yes, the 1 million units sold Star Wars Outlaws, that's definitely going to see a second life when it gets its November 21st release on Steam. Once they fix the game, yeah, that's when everybody's going to come around to it. Hey, it'll actually work, but then you still got to play it, and the gameplay's ass, and the dialogue's somehow even worse. But okay, we're talking about things that were in development that could have come out post-launch, but what was the game like before it got assaulted with a certain agenda, before it got a helping dose of consultancy companies wanting to come around and make your game more appealing to the modern audience? What was Ubisoft working on? Because we've heard a couple of different things. How the game originally featured a male Japanese protagonist. What were they working on? Ubisoft's alleged original plan for Assassin's Creed Shadows revealed before it was ditched in favor of pushing DEI with Yasuke and Naoe. A massive alleged plot leak claims to reveal that Ubisoft originally had planned for Shadows before it ditched it in order to push the DEI agenda with Yasuke and Naoe. Plot leak comes from Endymion. Yo, you guys are really minding this one video, huh? Who previously revealed that the number of sources informed him of Shadows featured a male, a Japanese protagonist. In the rumor, Endymion noted, I was also told when they originally saw the game, there was indeed a male Japanese protagonist with their own finalized art and even animations. They don't know if this character will be reintroduced to replace Yasuke, but they are skeptical, and Ubisoft will actually remove Yasuke altogether due to the whole political, backlash they'll get from journalists and so on. Yeah, and at this point in time, because like adding a co-op mode doesn't really detract or doesn't really add additional development time on top of anything else that they're doing. So yeah, that's a change that can very much happen, because that's just adding something. Totally wholesale replacing a character with all of these modes and all of these plot-heavy beats that you've marketed this game around, oof, it would be something to just go ahead and pluck him out and stick somebody else in. Things might not end up working out all that well. It's possible. It's definitely possible. Is it probable, though? Nah, I'm not thinking so. Later shared the male Japanese character was sidelined during the game's development during the Summer of Love. That makes sense. The game first did include a male Japanese main character, but was swapped sometime during 2020, according to my source, for Yasuke instead. When asked why Ubisoft chose Yasuke over this male Japanese character, Endymion revealed they said that Ubisoft was heavily influenced by socio-political events of the time, with stuff like, and no, I'm not kidding, George Floyd. Oh my god, riots and BLM exploding in support. That's interesting, because we're also seeing articles that are out there. I don't have them pulled up, but I remember seeing stuff. I seen a headline, guys, trust me, bro, that like the people that were also trying to push the idea that, oh, maybe we kind of lost our minds during the government's response to the coup, maybe we went a little bit overboard. Maybe we should just have like a total amnesty for everybody who wanted to depurpose and lock up anybody who wasn't down with being Big Pharma's guinea pig. Maybe we should just forgive locking people out of, their businesses or keeping them out of polite society for the better part of 18 months. Maybe we should just forgive everybody. Now we're also seeing those articles pop up saying that, maybe we all got taken for a ride on the BLM hysteria. Maybe things really aren't that bad. It's like, you can go straight to hell because, speak for yourself. Some people in my channel's getting to that point in time where I think I might have just passed the 4-year mark of doing this full-time, 7 days a week, 3 videos a day. I think I don't remember. I'm really bad when it comes to anniversaries and stuff like that. I remember a rough approximation of time, but like the first or second video on my channel talking about Jacob Blake, the precursor to the George Floyd stuff. Rather, no, that was the precursor to the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff. That was in the aftermath of the George Floyd stuff. And you can see the number of people, myself included, that were going, oh yeah, no, it's not bad treatment by police officers. It's a bunch of unruly criminals doing unruly criminal shit that's getting them shot and taken care of by the police. So no, we didn't get taken for a ride. Gullible white liberals got taken for a ride. And you best fucking believe that. He added Ubisoft, may have opted to include Yasuke in order to pander to identity politics because of Black Lives Matter. Furthermore, he shared that his source informed him that Ubisoft was horrified by the response to Yasuke from their fandom, and they actually thought including him would be a really big selling point for the game. That just shows you how out of touch these hacks are, and why believing that things are going to change after this. Oh, they got the time. They're going to go ahead and they're going to really release a banger, because you remember Assassin's Creed Origin? Oh, that was so much better than, all of the slop they were pushing out at the time. They had an opportunity to reflect, and they really delivered something great. They got rid of a mini-map that made it far more immersive, guys. Like, shut your mouths. This is Ubisoft we're talking about, and they're ideological to the core. They've been releasing slop for a very long time, so I think they're probably going to go out of business before they right the ship, because check this out, okay? Because Shadows is a write-off. What's next for them? Like, seriously, they're gonna crap out another Far Cry game? They had the one with Gus Fring, which, was that 6? Nobody played that shit. So you do Far Cry 7? Who's gonna care? You're gonna do a follow-up to Star Wars Outlaws Harder? Nobody's gonna give a shit. You can continue the story of Cave S. Oh great, and who did her jaw implant? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But you might, if given the right scenario, if given the right setting. Let's just say, even if you guys are on this black kick, right? Not you, the viewers, you, Ubisoft. Like, you do a proper I don't know, like 1600s, 1500s. Hell, things really haven't changed all that much. 2025, 2026, sub-Saharan African tribal assassin story. That could be cool. You want to do that, right? Hey, man, go ahead and be as historically accurate as you want. That could be fun. I'd be down to play that. But you think that they'd actually learn from all of the blowback, but instead the follow-up to Shadows, yeah, is going to be the gayest Assassin's Creed yet. They suck. They suck so bad. Assassin's Creed upcoming, Assassin's Creed Hexe, will be, yes, the gayest Assassin's Creed yet. Well, hey, Yasuke and Naoe can go ahead and bum and scissor with anybody that they want to, guys, because that's what we want to see. This is what happens when you let women write this shit, okay? I just talked about Rings of Power, and they were so happy to have an all-female directing team for the second season. What was the big takeaway from that one? Everybody wants to fuck one another. Sauron's out there, you know, wanting to stick more than just an arrow in Celebrimbor. Galadriel doesn't just have the hots for Halbrand, but she's also getting tongue punched by her future son-in-law. Sildur's out there with the Southlands, sloppy seconds, the town bicycle, fantastic stuff. You know, the ancestors of Aragon. Yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and, you know, he's the descendant of a cuck and a thought. And then you got the fat female Harfoot making out with a retard. Great. Fantastic. That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted in a big budget telling of Tolkien's Second Age. You just got to keep that, you know, constrained in Lord of the Rings stuff. Or, I'm sorry, Rings of Power stuff. Keep Lord of the Rings out of my mouth when I'm talking about Rings of Power. It's a totally different situation. No. You bring these DEI hires in. What do they care about? Just whatever makes their genitals work. They had a hard-on for black guys, mostly because they all have hard-ons for black guys. They have their favorite cuck chair sitting picked out in the corner. Or these chicks who are writing that stuff want to get drilled down by Daquan. Just fuck off with this stuff, man. You're ruining everything. But new rumor claims that the upcoming Assassin's Creed Hexe will be the gayest Assassin's Creed yet. Yep. And people were shocked. Oh my god, I cannot believe that people didn't want to play our big gay game. According to YouTuber Endymion and a Ubisoft insider, the next Assassin's Creed Hexe, will be the gayest Assassin's Creed yet, because they already laid the groundwork in Shadows, so let's just dial it up to 11. I'm told it only has a single female protagonist. Right, yeah, because that's the way diversity works. Oh, because for so long, you could only play as those, you know, straight white, except for Connor in Assassin's Creed 3, and except for, you know, depending on leftist interpretations of Italians, you know, the Moors and all that stuff, or the Egyptian, the actual technical African assassin. But no, this is the first time you're gonna have the opportunity to play as the female. Oh my god, it's so awesome. What about those spin-offs? I think the China one, you play as a chick, but whatever, it'll be so cool. The next Assassin's Creed, yeah, called Hexe, which is set during the Salem witch trials. Oh, you can go ahead and right the wrongs of those Salem witch trials because they didn't get enough witches. Oh, it was being internally claimed to get this be the gayest Assassin's Creed. Yeah. I'm told that it only has a single female protagonist and that she's the most fantastical Assassin's Creed. Yep. There will be lots of mysticism, and you will have, as they said, very striking visuals. I don't know what that means, an entirely different art style or anything, but this is what I was told. Yeah, because that's so fantastic, right? And that's kind of been the downfall. We'll just end on that. Kind of the downfall of the AAA space. Still thinking that they can go ahead and bank on all of these, oh my god, super realistic, hyper realistic visuals, when in actuality, like, what's the biggest game going right now? Fortnite. Yeah, it's definitely got those hyper-realistic visuals. Pixels haven't sold consoles since, like, the 7th generation. It's kind of when gaming peaked with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Like, I'd argue the best and the longest lasting games came out during, you know, the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, but here I am being an old head. But even the major console back when I was in my most formative years, because I was born 1990, right? So everything with the N64 and the PS1 should, you know, be super nostalgic to me, but I have no love for that console. I have no love for that generation. I had an N64. Still do, in fact. I think it's at my parents' place. But I'm not pining for those days to come back. Like, those graphics look like ass, and it was nice. It was very formative, and yeah, you got your footing when it comes to the 3D space. But while that was very necessary, I think those games are very much of their time. The Super Nintendo and Genesis stuff, it definitely has replayability. It still is just as good as a lot of those indie side-scrollers that are coming out right now. But there's no... realistically, like, you can think of all of the masterpieces that came out during, you know, during those eras, like each and individual generations, right? Like the Super Nintendo, PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and then, you know, the PS3 generation. All of those ones right there. Like, there are amazing franchises or even just one-off games that came out and got developed during that time that stand the test of time. And then you move into like the PS4, PS5, 8th and 9th generations, and outside of what Nintendo is doing out there, you really scratch your head and go, okay, can't really tell that much of a difference between the generational gap where we got all of these super impressive new ray tracing visuals on the PS5. Doesn't look a hell of a lot different than the PS4 if we're being completely honest. Still haven't even got to a nice standard of 60 FPS. But games don't look that much better. It really hasn't been that much of a step up from the 7th generation. That's probably why we're seeing so many lazy ports put forward. Yeah, okay, cool, they get AI upscaled. They don't play a hell of a lot better. And frankly, even if you did make some UI improvements, there's been very stale gameplay progression in the AAA space for 20 years at this point. Mostly because a lot of these projects have become too big to fail because these budgets have gone absolutely through the roof. So they aren't too big to fail. They're too big to succeed because in the case of Ubisoft, I've made the case, several other people have as well, that they just keep on building on the success that they found with Assassin's Creed 2 and Far Cry 3. They have done very little to innovate off of that, and it's ultimately led to them focusing on these superfluous elements that nobody cares about. The gayest Assassin's Creed yet. Hey, we got a black protagonist for the first time ever. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's buying your product, and it's the big reason why your studio is going to be bankrupt and non-existent in 2025. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.